welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my worst to best album series. Today I am going to be talking about the band Wings, or Paul McCartney and Wings, however you want to say it. This is one that I've been wanting to do for so long. Wings were my favourite band before I even knew what music was. I've loved them and basically everything that Paul has done since I was really young, and they're the first band that I remember really falling in love with. And as I got older, obviously I delved further into their albums and now I love them even more and listen to them all the time, so I thought that I would create this video and rank the studio albums and one live album from worst to best. So as always, please leave your guys' ranking in the comments because I would love to see your lists and if you agree with mine or not. And I would love to chat with some fellow Wings fans. I can find lots of Beatles fans but never any Wings fans, so yeah, that would be great. So I'm going to talk about the 7 studio albums, and then obviously I'm going to put Wings Over America in there somewhere because how could I not talk about Wings Over America? So as always, this is just my opinion. If you disagree, please feel free to tell me in the comments and we can have a debate. But for me, in 8th place is 1979's Back to the Egg. I like quite a few songs on this album, but there are a few clunkers, and for me, I just didn't connect with this album as well as I have the previous one. I just feel like this album could be more fleshed out and some of the songs just missed the mark for me. But having said that, I do love the songs Getting Closer, Again and Again and Again, and Winter Rose Love Awake, and the song Arrow Through Me, which is like a slower jam with great vocals from Paul and a really funky, like futuristic bass line. Yeah, that's a really cool song. But as I said, I just didn't connect with this album as much as I do with the others. Next up is the first album released by Wings. It's their debut, 1971's Wildlife. This album wasn't really well received by critics, and I can kind of see why. This was the world's first introduction to this new thing, Wings, Paul McCartney's new band, and what it was going to be. So I imagine it came as a little bit of a shock to people. It's not really an album that I could listen to from start to finish because there are some songs that I just really don't like. And I would say some of the songs are a bit too long, bit bop. I'm looking at you. And the sound is just a bit folky for me. I just prefer the sound of some of the later albums. But of course there are some really enjoyable songs on this album, and my personal favourite is Some People Never Know, although I will say that is a little bit too long. It kind of loses me in the last half, but the first half is great. And Dear Friend is another one that I really like, but honestly I just don't reach for this album very often, which is why it is down here on my list. I sometimes feel as well that this album came after Ram, which in my opinion is the best thing Paul has ever released, so maybe that's why it seems a little bit more disappointing. Not that I was alive back then obviously, but that's just my take on it. Anyway, the next album I'm going to talk about is 1973's Red Rose Speedway. This album had the big hit My Love, and it's full of like slow ballads. Apart from the first song Big Barn Red, I feel like the other songs are like all ballads, which is probably the reason why it's not higher up on my list. But Paul's vocals are fabulous as always, and I really love the drums on this album. It's quite stripped back, so the drums have a time to shine. I also feel like this was a pretty big step up from the previous album Wildlife. Some of the standout tracks are obviously My Love, and I really like the song One More Kiss. It's a bit cheesy lyrically, but it's really catchy. And I also love the song Little Lamb Dragonfly. Again, it's quite slow paced and ballady, but I think it's a really cool song. The guitar is great in that track. The final track is about 11 minutes long. It's a little medley of a few songs and it takes you on quite a nice journey. Overall, this album is fun and light-hearted, but you can tell that Wings haven't reached their full potential yet. And next up, I think this is 5th place now, but it's 1978's London Town. This album has one of my favourite Wings songs ever, which is With a Little Luck. I love that song. But yeah, London Town is a solid album in my opinion. It flows nicely, all the songs run coherently together. It's got quite a consistent theme running through it, which I like. This album was also the first time since the album Band on the Run that Wings were just their classic trio, what a lot of people call their classic lineup. It was just just the two McCartneys, Paul and Linda, and of course the great Denny Laine. It's quite keyboard heavy and some of the songs are a little bit poppy, but there's nothing wrong with that. The title track, London Town, is a great one, as well as the song Girlfriend, which Michael Jackson would go on to cover. Okay, now in fourth place, we're getting to the albums that I really love and listen to all the time. And first up is 1976's Wings at the Speed of Sound. This is just a really great album to me. There's only one song that I don't really vibe with. You can probably guess what it is. Cook of the House. Sorry, Linda, but apart from that, I love all of the others. The opening song, Let 'Em In, is basically my whole childhood in a song. I can't listen to it without being taken back to being a young teenager listening to Wings on my portable CD player, and it just makes me so happy. It's my favourite on the album for sure, but a close second is Wino Junker. I know a lot of people don't like that song, but I absolutely love it. Lead vocals from Jimmy McCulloch there, and there's a great little guitar solo about halfway through. And obviously we have to talk about the song Silly Love Songs, which is just classic, brilliant, fantastic McCartney pop. I love that track. So kicking off at the top three is the wonderful live album Wings Over America. This could easily be my number one, but I just slightly prefer the other two for a few reasons. But honestly, this is everything you could want from a live album. It's cut out all the clunkers and it's just banger after banger. There's a great selection of tracks and there's even a few Beatles tracks in there as well. The band sound great, they're really tight, vocals are amazing. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about this album other than it is just brilliant. And then it occurred to me, you couldn't be bad. Right, so here we are. My second place Wings album is 1975's Venus and Mars. This album is home to my favourite song of all time. Not my favourite Wings song, my literal favourite song ever of all time. And that song is Listen to What the Man Said. I genuinely just love that song more than anything in the world. Honestly, I could talk about it. I could make a whole video about it, but I'm not going to. Just know that it is my favourite song ever and Venus and Mars is a great album. The production is so crisp and great and the songs just flow really well together. There's a nice mix of slow songs and fast songs and all different types of songs. I would say that it is very close to perfect as an album. Loving Song is a great one. I love that song. Magneto and Titanium Man is just, I love that song so much. That's a really cool little rocker. Letting Go is a great song. Medicine Jar is another one of my favourites. Honestly, I could literally list every single song pretty much. I love this album. It is a really strong album and it's got some great standalone songs as well. So I'm sure you guessed it and this will come as no shock to anybody. My all-time favourite Wings album is 1973's Band on the Run. If you watched my top 10 albums of all time video like 6 months ago, you'll see that this album was on there. It really is a fantastic album from start to finish. I would say it's perfection. It's the perfect length, not too long, not too short, just full of amazing songs. The title track, Band on the Run, is just insane. Jet is just one of my absolute favourite songs ever. I actually saw Band on the Run and Jet live about 5 years ago when I went to see Paul and it was just an amazing experience. 1985 as well is such a great song, so underrated. I never hear anybody talk about that one. And Bluebird, actually, how am I forgetting Bluebird? That is another amazing song. What an album, people. So that is it for this video, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed my little ranking of Wings albums there. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like before you leave. I am going to be doing a Beatles version of this. It's just taking me a little bit longer because there's more albums, obviously. And make sure to comment down below your ranking because I would love to see what you guys have to say about Wings' discography. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!